Did you know that over 300 million people worldwide live with asthma? Yet up to 80% don't use their inhalers properly. It's a bit like trying to drive a car with the handbrake on. No wonder so many people are struggling. Today, I'm going to give you everything you need to know to take control of your asthma, from quick hacks to the latest treatments. I am Dr. Sophie GP, and I've seen firsthand how asthma can kind of hold people back. But there is good news, because with the right approach, you can live a completely normal, active life. So if you are fed up with the wheezing, feeling out of breath, and or relying too much on your blue inhaler, then this video is for you. So what is asthma? Right, imagine breathing through a straw, and now imagine someone is pinching that straw. It's harder to get the air in and out, right? Well, that's asthma. Your airways get inflamed, narrow, and more sensitive to certain triggers. Right, I'm going to get straight into the biggest mistake people make. So let's talk inhalers. Your blue inhaler, usually salbutamol, is a reliever inhaler, not a preventer. So I like to think of it as like the flashing blue light on an ambulance. So it's the blue for the blue light, and it's used for emergencies when you're struggling to breathe, but it isn't a long-term solution. So if you're using it more than 3 times a week, that's kind of like your lungs waving a big red flag saying, "Help me, Dr. Sophie." So I've actually made some really quick videos showing you how to use your inhaler properly. So do have a look and check those out after this. Okay, so what are the keys to controlling asthma? This is it, kind of the nitty-gritty that you're here for, isn't it? Well, I'm going to say the real game changer is your preventer inhaler. So these usually contain steroids to calm down the inflammation in the airways over time, so your symptoms don't flare up in the first place, hence it prevents the problem. But the trick is you have to use it every single day, even when you feel fine. So consistency is key. And some of you might have heard of newer options, ones like called MART inhalers, which combine a preventer and reliever in one. A bit like a 2-in-1 shampoo, but for your lungs, and they can work really well as well. If inhalers aren't enough, you might be offered a tablet called Montelukast. This is another kind of preventer, and it helps reduce inflammation in the airways. Occasionally, you might need a short course of steroid tablets if your symptoms flare up. And if your asthma is still playing up, your doctor might refer you to a specialist for further options. Sometimes we got to call in the cavalry. You also need to know your triggers. So common asthma triggers include pollen, so obviously like hay fever time, dust mites, smoke, cold air, and even stress. If you don't know yours, you might think some of those are familiar. Do start tracking when your symptoms get worse. It's a bit like playing detective with your lungs. I guess a bit like Sherlock Holmes, but with a bit more wheezing. But what's really important is you have an asthma action plan. Now, this tells you exactly what you need to do when your symptoms flare up. And this is usually done with your nurse or your doctor. And it's based on a traffic light system. So kind of just nice and simple: green for good, yellow for warning signs, and red for when you need urgent help. And your nurse or doctor will often go through your peak flow readings, which measure how well air is moving in and out of your lungs, a bit like a kind of a fitness tracker, but for your breathing. And if you're not sure how to use a peak flow meter, looky for you, I've done a video on that as well. So have a look at that one. You might have heard or seen on TikTok quick hacks to improve your asthma. It's hard to know which ones are just nonsense and which ones might work. So let's go through which ones are worth trying. You might have heard you've got to breathe through your nose. This is good. Your nose does actually help filter out the dust, the pollen, and the cold air before it reaches your lungs. Mouth breathing, on the other hand, lets triggers straight in there. So as much as you can, try and breathe through your nose. You might have also heard about some different sorts of breathing techniques. So one of them is pursed lip breathing. So if you're starting to feel short of breath, this could be a good one to try. So you breathe in through your nose for 2 seconds, and then breathe out slowly through pursed lips, a bit like you're kind of blowing out a candle for 4 seconds. And this can help control that kind of breathlessness and actually might prevent an asthma attack coming on. It's a bit like giving your lungs a kind of calming meditation. Okay, what about elevating your sleeping position? Well, yep, this can work because lying flat can make asthma worse, especially at night. So do try sleeping with an extra pillow. That might help keep your airways open. And the other thing you can do is keep your home asthma friendly. The home environment can actually make a huge difference. So things like allergen-proof mattresses and pillow covers. Make sure you're vacuuming regularly with a HEPA filter and keep humidity levels between about 30 to 50%. Not too high, not too low. And actually avoid strong smelling cleaning products and also kind of scented fragrances, because that can actually be quite irritating as well. Also, stay warm in cold weather. So if you live somewhere cold, like I do in the north of England, cold air can trigger asthma symptoms. So when you're outside in the winter, do kind of wrap a scarf loosely over your nose and mouth to help warm the air before you breathe it in. Okay, so what about lifestyle tips for better asthma control? So exercise. This is one of the best things you can do for your asthma. It strengthens your lungs and improves your overall fitness, which can help reduce symptoms. So just make sure to warm up properly and keep your reliever inhaler handy. And when we say exercise, it doesn't have to necessarily be going to the gym or going for a run. Try and just increase your activity levels, and that's going to be helpful. Also, healthy diet. I know it's something you're always hearing banging on about, but it's surprisingly it can actually help your asthma. So keeping a healthy weight, eating a balanced diet with plenty of fruit, veg and omega-3s, which are found in like fish, nuts and seeds, this can actually possibly help reduce the inflammation in the airways. Another good reason to think about healthy eating. And you know I'm going to say this in an asthma video, but if you are smoking, you please do stop. It's a bit like setting up roadblocks in your own airways. So if you are able to stop smoking, your lungs will be grateful. And vaping. We're still trying to figure out if they're building roadblocks too. So best to try and avoid vaping if possible. Right, vaccinations. Because you have asthma, it is especially important to stay up to date with your vaccinations. The flu vaccine and pneumonia vaccine can help protect you from infections that can trigger asthma attacks. So definitely get booked in when you get an invitation. Vitamin D. Some studies suggest that vitamin D might help reduce asthma symptoms, especially if you have low levels of vitamin D. So this is not a replacement for your inhalers, but it's worth ensuring you're getting enough and consider a supplement if needed. You might have heard about CBD oils for asthma. So there is some early research suggesting they could help with inflammation, but there isn't strong enough evidence yet for us to really recommend it. And there are risks and side effects and interactions with other medications, so do speak to your doctor before trying CBD. What about steam inhalation? This is a common recommendation, but actually, experts say we shouldn't do it. Although some people do find it useful, there's a risk of scalding, so you might burn yourself with very hot water, but actually can also irritate the airways and make your symptoms worse. Let's sum up everything. Right, keys are: use your preventer inhaler daily. The doctor says you have to. Check you're using it right, watch my videos, track your triggers, have an action plan, and try the simple hacks to breathe easier. Right, that's it in a nutshell. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up, share with someone else who might need it, and please don't forget to subscribe for more health tips. Thanks for watching.